talk Mavs. They make sure I get this right here. Since Kyrie came to town and began playing with Luka, which would be February 11th, they have now lost 6 out of 8 games. That matchup with the Suns, and apologies for jumping games here. I should have just gone from Suns to Mavs, but that's all right. That matchup with the Suns was interesting because it was a mirror image to an extent of two teams with similar profiles, just one, I think, better than the other. Defense being a concern for both to a lesser degree with the Suns and in a tight game all the way through. But then Phoenix finds a way to separate at the end. Like you said, Mr. Durant having a lot to do with that, a big mid-range shot on the left side to seal the game. But man, the late game stuff with Luka and Kyrie, and nothing like disastrous in this one like there had been in a couple of other games. But you do conceivably have two of the best closers in the game, two of the better closers. I mean, Kyrie at his peak is the closer, but just not coming together so far. I know it's relatively early, but this is what we talked about when the Mavs made this move with Brooklyn, was the pressure that came with having such a tight window because of Kyrie's free agency this summer. Like, if you had to pick one team that made a big move at the deadline that really needed to get off to a good start to avoid the big picture conversation that might come with struggle, it was the Mavs. And then, they've ended up really scuffling.
Yeah, but this is again where I just think the West standings are so forgiving, where they're 33 and 32, and I can remember seasons. I remember covering the season for the Thunder where Durant breaks his foot, and they win 48 games, but they're the 9 and don't get into the playoffs because the 8 seed was like a 49 win team. Or I remember when the Grizzlies one year, the Marcus Gasol Grizzlies were 50 win 7 seed. That's just no longer required in the West, where we mentioned the Clippers. Well, they're sitting there at the 8 right now. The Mavericks are at the 7. It's not like they're not good early signs with Westbrook or good early signs with Kyrie and Luka, but they're a 3-game winning streak from being out of the play-in, and to be honest, like, they're going to be judged, I assume, both Clippers and Mavericks, with the way the Jazz are basically tapping out of the season at this point, it seems. The Pelicans, they just don't have anybody healthy right now, so they're probably falling off. The Lakers don't have LeBron. I don't think they're ready to surge. The Thunder are basically, it sounds like taking it easy with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I don't expect the Blazers to rise. So at this point, I think the Clippers are making it in, and I think the Mavericks are making it in kind of by default.
Right.
So they're going to be judged once they get there. And even if they're in as the 8 or in as the 7, you're talking about an 8, you're playing a Nuggets team who, I probably doubt more than others, as you tend to, remind me. But, if you're the 7, are you playing the Grizzlies at 2 with everything that's going on about the Grizzlies? We might even talk about, do they fall? It's just, I think Kyrie and Luka have time, is what I'm saying. They have time to try to solve this. I don't like the supporting cast around them. But you would think that one of their advantages would be tight game late. We have closers that are better than your closers. We can hand it to Luka or hand it to Kyrie, and they can bring us over the finish line. And that just has not happened early on. We'll see if that changes.